Hey everyone, it's Chris from RatRaceRebellion.com. I'm here today with Arielle Sheldon. She is the virtual talent manager for Working Solutions. If you're a regular at the Rat Race Rebellion website, you know the name, Working Solutions. We've been around for 25 years and we've been featuring them for almost that long. We've established a great relationship with them. And over the years, we've had so many I got hired success stories coming in from people who have been contracting with Working Solutions. As a matter of fact, we just got another one today or yesterday that I sent over to Mike to include in our newsletter. So you've probably been seeing those as well if you subscribe to the newsletter. And it's always good news. We have yet to receive a complaint about Working Solutions, and knock on wood, it'll stay that way. And we love getting their name out there. When we do these video interviews, it's always with companies that we love. And that's why we're sharing them with you. And they're not paying us for this video. Just so you know, this is not a sponsored video. This is Rat Race Rebellion saying, hey, we'd like our people to get to know Working Solutions a little bit better. Arielle is here to tell you everything you need to know from the inside out, how you can get working with Working Solutions, giving you some inside tips on how to streamline that process and get your best chances of working with the company. So Arielle, I would love it if you could just take a moment to introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, how long you've been with the company, what you love about it, and then I have a list of questions that I'm going to dive into so that we can make sure our folks here get all the information they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. So my name's Arielle Sheldon. I started with Working Solutions in 2019. So I've been here a little over 5 years now. I started as a placement consultant and then moved up to the management role. And I live in Dayton, Ohio currently. My husband is military.
Ah,
So honestly, I worked with call centers before. I've worked a whole bunch of different types of jobs, but being a military spouse, it's like I'd get in a job, I'd promote, I'd start from scratch because we'd move and so forth. So I remember being like, I've got to find something that's remote, something that can move with me, and came across Working Solutions, and it's just been a total game changer for me. I also have autoimmune. So if you're somebody who can't get out of the house sometimes or have issues with that, working remote has just been a huge help for my lifestyle. So happy to talk about Working Solutions today and how it can work for people. So
awesome. And I'm glad to hear you mention the military. I did not know that
Mhm.
about you, that you're a military spouse. We've done
Yeah.
a lot of work with military over the years, most especially with the Air Force.
Mhm.
So always happy to hear that. We know that there are some really difficult issues when you PCS from one base to the next. Being a trailing spouse is not an easy thing. Their career is growing while yours keeps
Right.
restarting.
Right.
So, yeah, that's a tough one. So for the military spouses who are watching this, you've got somebody who understands out there. I want to dive into asking you some questions. You've already told us a little bit about what you like about the company and how it works for you. If you could just describe the company culture for us, what is it like when for the person who's watching this video, if they start working with Working Solutions, what can they expect culturally from the company?
Yeah, absolutely. You're starting with my favorite topic. So Working Solutions started in 1996. So this is
Mhm.
way before, working from home has now become the thing, but we've been doing this for so long. We're just a few years shy of our 30-year anniversary with
It's
Working
awesome.
Solutions. So well established. But we call ourselves the Woohoo Crew. We just very energetic, very enthusiastic group of workers here. Everybody I've worked with is supportive, encouraging. Um, we really, want to push, inclusivity. I talked a minute ago about having autoimmune issues. We have people with disabilities. We have all sorts of different backgrounds that people come from. And that's why remote is so ideal, and because every background is valuable. And especially with the different types of call types that we use and things like that, we're able to access people all over the US with all different backgrounds. And so that's a huge value to us at Working Solutions and something that we take to heart. But yeah, overall, just a caring culture and excited, everybody's, we're happy to work from home. We're happy to work together. And we just want to, support each other.
So what makes Working Solutions a great company to contract with? And I want to put the emphasis on the word contract,
Yeah.
because we have a lot of folks, of course, who are looking for work who have only ever worked as employees. And I do want people to know right up front, these are contracting positions. So you'll be working for yourself. So when you hear us using that word contractor or contract as opposed to employee, that's the reason why we're doing that. So so I'm contracting with Working Solutions. What's so great about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I did want to just call out real quick, if you ever go to the FAQs portion of our website, there's a great video there on the difference between independent contracting and employee role. So if you are new to contracting, that is a great kind of base point to educate yourself on. So more to come on that, I'm sure. But as far as what makes this company great to contract with, honestly, we have such a highly engaged agent community. We just launched something called the Commons, which is almost like a social platform where people can talk about, they can start, book conversations or hobbies or things like that. We have so many people in our community that we wanted to find ways to keep them engaged. We have in-person meetups. We're doing events all this summer where, like, say you live in Texas, there was an event in Houston where we all got together and they gave out gifts and people got to meet each other and discuss how they do their contracting and what works for them and what programs they've contracted with previously. And it was just a great social event.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
because so many people who work from home are home alone during the day or during the night, depending on when they're working. And a lot of people feel like the one thing that they're missing about being in a brick and mortar office is peers that they can communicate with. That water cooler talk is missing. So sounds like you said the Commons.
The Commons, yeah, that's our social site. Once they get into your community, they'd have access to that. Funny you say that. That was my first hesitancy with working remote too, is I was always a desk surfer. I would, walk, hey, how you doing today? And I thought, oh, I'm going to be so alone here. And because we have the ability to chat or post or things, I feel like I'm always talking to somebody and still have that connection, which is great. Another thing though is we have a lot of people who come to us who contracting and they think short term, but we have so many companies that we contract with that, like, one of our companies just celebrated their 10-year anniversary, and we had people who we did a celebration event for it, people who worked there for 10 years. We contracted there for 10 years. We have we actually now do milestone celebrations. So if someone hits 5 years of contracting with us, 10 years of contracting with us, they're getting celebrated for that. So there are short-term contracts, but we also have programs where you can really sink your teeth into it. You get through the education stage, you get through it, but then it's just, it is something you can rely on for years. So
Great.
that's something that's been very useful. And then of course, just flexibility. With our remote, with contracting, you set your own schedule for what works for you. You pick the job opportunity, the contract opportunity that works for you. And so whatever suits your skills, maybe you're not a salesperson, but you love working with elderly. We've got a lot of different options for what suits your needs.
That's great. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you've got a wide variety of people and a wide variety of options for work and those contracts. And I'm sure focusing on what are your skill sets and where do they fit best so that everybody's successful. They're successful. The contractors are successful. Your clients are happy with the service that they're receiving from the contractors. And of course, you've got Working Solutions right in the middle, who can't be anything but delighted when everybody else is getting what they want. So,
Right.
if I asked your clients about Working Solutions, what would they say? Not your contractors, but your clients,
Mhm.
the companies who contract with Working Solutions.
Yeah. So our clients mainly just rave about the quality of the contractors that we're bringing them. We have a selection process, and we work to fit each applicant with a contract that they're best suited for. Then we're ensuring our contractors are fully prepared for that role, from walking them through tech setups, through free education classes, learning how to use their tools for the contracts. And then we have a LEAP process where they are kind of taking a learning environment, and they're taking calls, but they've got people there to immediately support them. There's
Mhm.
always support around them. So our contractors they hit the ground running, and our clients are always just blown away. They exceed the expectations they have from them from the get-go. So that is the main feedback we get from our clients is, where are
That's
you finding these people? You know? So,
and that's great. And it doesn't
yeah.
surprise me, because one of the things that I hear feedback-wise about Working Solutions is that your onboarding, your training is it, it's as close to foolproof as you can get, where people feel like they're really ready, and that they don't feel like they're flapping in the breeze on their own out there
Right.
either, that they do have that support.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me at all that your client companies are happy, because if you have people who know what they're doing,
Right.
it's making the right impression ultimately on the end user, the consumer, the
Mhm.
customer of your clients. So, speaking of your clients, um, what kinds of opportunities can your contractors expect? So, those clients, they're going to be
Yeah.
serving your clients. What will they be doing? What kinds of opportunities
Mhm.
are there for them?
Right. So this varies greatly. We have some mainstay clients that we work with. We have some that come and go seasonally. It's always called out if it's a seasonal program versus a
Mhm,
long-term program. But anything from customer service, sales, tech support, troubleshooting, stuff like that, product support. We're working with like veterinary pharmacy right now. So all sorts of different skills. Again, if you're someone who's like, I'm not me, and I say this because I'm not a salesperson, and that one, it makes me a little bit more antsy. But someone else out there is like, give it to me, and they're great at that. But you can read through the opportunity descriptions when they post, and that way you can find the one that suits you best.
mhm,
Actually, with that, when we post something, it's because we have need for it. We have call volume for it.
mhm.
So when you go to our opportunities, you're not going to see 100 opportunities right there, but you're going to see the one that has need. And
Ah,
so some people, will message us and go, well, are there actually hours on this program? Yes, that's why we're recruiting for it right now. We really need people on it. So you can know that you're going to have hours on the program if you start it.
mhm.
But then anything from phone support, email, live chat, all sorts of different types of tasks that they would do depending on the opportunity as well.
Okay, great. So lots of variety. Okay, so one thing people always want to know is, what kinds of industries are the contractors serving?
Yeah, absolutely. So anything from retail, we were talking about pet products, pet supplies, pharmacy, things like that, education, financial. We've got a program we've been working with recently that focuses on people with bookkeeping skills,
Oh,
accounting skills. And then my personal favorite is travel and hospitality, because who doesn't want to live vicariously booking somebody's trips and vacations for them? So lots of different interests. And like I said, we have some that they're always around, and they post monthly, and you can be on there for 10 years plus. We have some that come in that are seasonal, and you can jump on it. It's a go hard for a couple months, and then that one ends. So lots of different variety. If you're someone who's looking to just fill your summer, and we've got a season program for that, that's great. If you're someone who wants this long term, we can provide for that too.
great. If if somebody is working on one contract with Working Solutions and they're performing well and that contract comes to an end, can they look to other contracts within the organization? Is that something that is generally a pretty smooth process internally?
Yeah, absolutely. So if your contract ends, we try to prioritize the people who are already in our community because, of course, skills still come into it. We want to make sure that you best fit the next role that you're applying for. But at the same time, if you've proven yourself to be a great, contractor and, the team is saying, well, this person's great. We're going to try to find you something else immediately. All of it is, what's available at the time. And
Right,
again, like obviously, if you, the next role that's up is bookkeeping and you don't have bookkeeping
right,
experience, we
right.
might say, let's wait for the next one, but the nice thing is, so we don't call them recruiters, we call them placement consultants
Okay,
because of that reason. We're not trying to just fill an X number per program. We're trying to help the contractors find the best fit for what they're suited for. So sometimes we are going to advise, this one, it's okay, but if you go to this one's long term and you've got the skills that match it. So we have those discussions with contractors often to see what the actual best fit for their needs are.
I love that. It's not
Yeah.
just about getting warm bodies and voices on the
Right.
phones. It's about having the right people in the right place to help ensure the greatest
Right.
opportunities for success. Okay, perfect. So who's your ideal candidate? And I understand that from contract to contract, client to
Mhm.
client, there's going to be different skill sets in play, but those underlying core traits and
Right.
characteristics that contribute to the ultimate success. What are those traits that you're looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. And as a placement consultant previously myself, I'm looking for somebody who has great communication, the ability to follow up, or complete multiple steps in a process. So I'll go through the application process later, but you do one step and then there's an email and then you have to follow up with the next step. So
Mhm.
making sure that you've got follow up there to get that done. So that requires a self starter, somebody who can take pride in running their own contracting business, that you understand that this is a business and that you can fully succeed. We say that we're a side gig, and we can be a side gig if you're looking for just a few hours a week, but we can also be, the meat and potatoes as well, depending on what you're
Right.
looking for. So we do look for traits such as empathy, customer service, if you're a salesperson, determination, really wanting to meet the customer's needs, not just give the bare minimum answer, but to dig in and find the solution for them. Um, General tech savviness is needed, even if it's not a tech program. We're
Mhm.
going to at least need you to be able to get through your tech setups. It's your own computer and equipment that you're working with. So, if you need to install a program, you need to be comfortable knowing how to install a program. So there is a little bit of general tech savviness and navigating between systems that is necessary. So that's kind of the general that we look for. A couple of skill specific that comes up often would be sales, accounting slash bookkeeping, troubleshooting, tech support. And then currently we have programs that have needs for bilingual French and English, and then bilingual Spanish and English. So
Okay.
those sometimes come with additional rates and incentives as well if they can meet that bilingual need.
So I've been running the URL for people who would like to contract with Working Solutions or explore those possibilities. You'll see the URL running across the bottom of the screen. It's jobs.workingsolutions.com. When people go there and kick things off, what does the application, screening, and interview process look like? And I'm going to make this a two-part question um, because we're seeing a huge uptick in the number of scams that are going on out there where scammers, usually from overseas, are going online. They're looking on LinkedIn and in other places. They're finding the names of legitimate companies that hire or contract with people to work remotely. Sometimes they're even taking the names of real people. So maybe I'm a scammer overseas, and I'm going to pretend that I'm with Working Solutions, and I'm going to say that I'm Ariel Sheldon. And I might even have Ariel's picture on my profile on WhatsApp or Signal or whatever I'm using. And so when you're talking about what the process looks like, I would love it if you could also address sort of what it doesn't look like.
Sure.
And I don't know if Working Solutions has been hit by this, but almost every company has. So I think it's really important that we let these folks who are watching today know that if you're being contacted in a certain way by Working Solutions, this is not us, but this is. That would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of address that as well, I mean, when you've been doing this for 30 years, you're a big name out there, and people want to try to be that name. And so I would be happy to go into tips on how to spot that. But first of all, you'd go to that jobs.workingsolutions.com that's on the scroll at the bottom. And everything is kind of housed internally in our website. So you shouldn't be getting external communications from us. So basically, you go in, you set up a profile from that website. You're going to do an assessment quiz. You're going to put in your skills and experience. You're going to scan your computer, and through our website, it's safe to scan your computer. I know some people are, oh, I'm scanning my computer. If you're going to this website and you're going and getting prompted, it's totally okay to do. We just want to scan and make sure you have the equipment needed to do the contracts. And then once you are in our system, you're in what's called the applicant Vine portal. And that's where you'll see your opportunities and be able to review the postings. And that's where it's going to show you, okay, we need the skill, and this is the contracting rate for this. And if you want to apply, you click the apply now button. And then there's going to pop up some posting questions, 6 to 10 questions of specific to that program, what your skills are for that you'll answer. That gets submitted. We review that over the next week or two, or however long we are reviewing for that opportunity. And then you may be invited, either if you submit it, sometimes there's an auto invite to then complete a video interview, or you submit it and we'll be in touch to schedule a live phone interview. So one of those two you'll get, but it's all housed inside that. So when you're applying for the opportunity, you're applying in that portal. Now, when you get contacted to, say, schedule a live interview, that's going to come to your personal email where you set up your account. But that email is going to come from workingsolutions.com. It's not going to come from Gmail or anything like that.
Right.
It's not going to come from WhatsApp, but it will come from one of our placement consultants at workingsol.com. We also, if you opt in for text alerts, you may get a text from us, but I wouldn't just respond to any generic text. I would make sure that what you see on the text, you then see from an email from us with our branding, with our workingsolutions.com. If you're ever not sure, go to the workingsolutions.com website, and you can go to, there's a little chat portal at the bottom, and you can say, hey, I was just contacted. Is this legitimate? And our HR rep will get you in contact with your placement consultant to verify that. But if anything ever feels fishy, I say trust your gut. We do send text, we do email, but it should be branded. And you can always verify it through our website. And if you get an offer, it's going to be in the portal. You should never be accepting an offer from anything outside of that applicant portal that you're in. And we don't charge any fees for anything. So if you're being told you need to pay for an education class or anything like that, that's not accurate. And just to touch on that for fees, there is a one-time $20 account management fee, but it's for all contracts. You could contract with us 5, 6, 7 different times. It's just to set up your, automatic deposit funding, it runs your background check for you and all that. So if somebody's telling you something's $100, it's not us. You pay $20 one time. And actually, even that comes out of your first invoice. It doesn't come out of your pocket. So,
Okay. And before anybody who's watching hears that and thinks, yeah, but you should never have to pay to work from home. This is where you have to remember that these are contracting positions and not employee-employer relationships. So it is a business to business relationship in essence. So if I'm contracting to Working Solutions, I have a business. I am a business. Even if I'm just me, I am an entity that is serving another entity. So when you encounter that type of a fee, it's a minimal amount, but it's something that, without getting into all the IRS regulations and things like that, it is something that is a business to business. Keep track of what your expenditures are and share that with your accountant, or keep it for your taxes at the end of the year, because it is a different ball game when you're working for yourself.
yeah, absolutely. And that includes, like, we compile all the invoices, we track all that. We compile the 1099 at the end of the year. So it's just an account management one time. Like I said, you could be with us for 10 years and that came out of your invoice 10 years ago and you're done. So
Yeah, great. And I know you've had people, I know that we have Rat Race Rebels who have been with Working Solutions for many years. So yeah, that's great that they pay that once. It's one and done. Tell me about the onboarding and training, your education, your agent education process.
yeah, absolutely. So we just recently got awarded the Remote Tech Award for our education platform. So we're
Oh,
very
great.
proud of
And
of
cheers.
the yeah.
Clink. You get a clink with my cow mug.
I don't have a glass with
That's
me,
okay.
but yeah, I mean, so we're very proud of our education team. First of all, they are certified teachers. These are people who know how to be in a classroom. And why that matters is there's a lot to learn with each program, and they're not just throwing a book at you and saying figure this out. They go to their, let me learn how to do it first type of course, and then they break it down into bite-sized curriculum. They're basically building a curriculum for the pros in information that, first of all, we understand people want to get to where they're earning money as fast as possible. So it gets you through as quickly as possible while still grasping the information. And by the time you're there and on the phones, you're confident in what you're doing. So we're really proud of how that they're able to really figure that process out of, okay, I need to get this information to them, but in a way that's not overwhelming, that they're working through it together in a live class environment. That being said, because it's a lot of information and because it's so important, the education, when you apply for a program, we have an education calendar that's posted with it. You need to be sure that you're able to attend every day of the live class, because we'll have people who say, well, can't I watch a video and catch up? And unfortunately, no, it is something where you need to be fully available for the class, because it just moves faster than you could catch up if you missed a day. So something to keep in mind if you're applying for a program. The other thing we have is, as soon as you're added to the roster for the class, we have a program page that has, your like contacts for who you need to reach out to. You have what's called an onboarding coordinator, who's basically the person that's going to hold your hand from I'm on the roster to the education team is taking over and I'm having daily classes with them. And they're going to help you with a task list of, okay, I need to make sure I have a headset. I need to make sure that my Wi-Fi, I'm not connected by Wi-Fi. I'm hardwired to my computer. There's going to be a tech setup day where you go in and they check everything and say, yep, your computer is good to go. So there's always somebody who is walking you through this process. The only thing you need to make sure to do is that you're checking your emails. So, and it goes to your personal email that you set your profile up with. So, especially with Gmail has some really strict spam filters. You want to put Working Solutions as, an approved sender, somebody where you're not missing their communications, because You might get an email from somebody saying, hey, tech setup was today. We haven't seen you. Can you come in the next? And if that went to your spam, you might miss it. You
Right.
have the calendar as well, but sometimes people miss stuff. So keeping an eye on your email is super important, but you've always got somebody communicating with you. We're going to try to get you through that class. As long as you're willing
That's
through
right.
the class and successful.
And
So,
I'm glad you brought up the email because Gmail and Yahoo
mhm.
just made a lot of changes behind the scenes, without getting too um, technical about it,
Mhm.
DKIM and DMARC records and everything else. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that means that a lot of good emails are ending up in people's spam folder or
Mhm.
going to promotions or are just being blocked altogether.
Yeah.
So it's problematic. I'm sure it will sort itself out over time,
Mhm.
probably just on time for more updates, because that's
Yeah.
the way those things go. But just be aware of it, not just for communications with Working Solutions, but if you've been applying for other companies as well and you're wondering, how come I'm not getting anything when they said I'm going to be
Mhm.
getting something, check all of those extra
We've
files.
we've definitely noticed that this last month for people who we've sent offers to, and we're saying, "Hey, your
Uh-huh.
offer's here," and they're missing it right now. That's why it's also super important to opt into this text alerts, because that's where I've been, my team will send to me, "Hey, this person was really interested. Now I can't hear back from them." And I'll send a text over and say, "Hey, you've got an offer waiting." And they're like, "Oh my goodness." And they log into their portal and they see it. So yeah,
Yeah.
we've definitely noticed a change recently,
Yeah.
and so a lot more texts are going out. So
Major Gmail and Yahoo updates
mhm,
recently. So it's not just you, it's
yeah.
everyone. Let me ask you this. If I'm waiting for an email, I've checked my spam, I've checked everything, and by now I should have heard from you because we're in the process. Can they go to the site and use that same chat box that you referenced earlier, or is there a better way to work that?
Yeah, once they are in our applicant system, they actually have at the bottom of the screen the name and email of their placement consultant. So
Awesome.
if they're not hearing from their log into your portal, and you can directly contact your placement consultant. They're the ones that's, making the selection and reviewing your application. So you might as well go straight to them at that
Perfect.
point. And so very direct. Yeah.
Take the most direct route.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I just want to make sure that people are going in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So you talked a lot about the kind of support that's available through the
Mhm.
onboarding process and the training, and it sounds amazing. What more can you tell me about that? Because there are companies out there where once you've completed the training, you're kind of flying solo.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
and I've always heard that that's not the case with Working Solutions. So I would love to know more if you have more details.
Yeah, absolutely. When you asked earlier what it is our clients say about us, I was thinking, oh, well, what our contractors say about us is this, that we never leave them hanging. We have, so they're going through, they've got their placement consultants direct email, they're communicating with them till they're on a contract. Then they've got their onboarding coordinator who will send an email introducing themselves, and they're going to get them through their onboarding. And then they get basically a handoff email, then goes to our education team who says, "Hey, my name is such and such. Here's my email. You're in class with me now." And then they finish the curriculum and they go into what's called LEAP, where they start taking calls, but they've got like the educator, the program specialist right there ready to help them if they're on a call and they don't know what to do. So immediate access to support until they're comfortable and they complete LEAP. Then they do what's called go live, and they start taking their live calls, and they're normally scheduled, setting their own schedules however they want within their work hours. And they have program specialists that they're able to connect with. They have tech support. If say, hey, I'm trying to log into my system and I have this issue, they can reach out to tech support same day. So we've got chat help. We've got community chat. Again, if they just, sometimes we have people who take on a shift and then they say, oh, I've got an emergency. Can somebody take my
Mhm.
shift? So you can do that.
Great.
Um, Lots of different options. There's a program page that you're on, so any updates, anything like that gets posted there. Lots of access to help anytime you need it. So
That's great. And of course, you already mentioned the commons, which I can imagine there's probably conversations in there too, right?
yeah,
Especially between people working with the same client,
right.
this happened, that happened. How did you handle it? What would you
Yeah.
recommend? So it sounds like you've got the working solutions side support plus that peer
Hmm.
support, which is
Right.
really nice. That's a really nice added layer, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think that could work out really nicely. I had put this question together previously. What type of work status do you
Hmm.
offer, meaning employee or independent contractor? And of course, we've been addressing that right down the line, but did you want to add anything else to that?
Yeah. So any of our opportunities that you see posted are 100% independent contracting opportunities. Again, you can learn more about the independent contracting role on our FAQs page. There's quite literally a list of independent contractors do this, employees do this. There's a
Mhm.
video that walks through it. So that's really, if you're new to contracting, that's like a great starting point. Obviously, it's a 1099 type of program. You know, we don't withhold your taxes or anything like that. And
Mhm.
all of that's gone over in there. But we are a great, I want to say, getting your foot into the door of independent contracting, because we're helping you with, we've got a pay system, and you can do, automatic deposit. We do your invoicing for you. You're just checking it and approving it. And again, we provide the 1099 at the end. So there's a lot of paperwork side of things that we still try to just help provide those resources, and then you check and approve. So if you're new to contracting, we've got those resources that are going to help. But I always encourage, sites like Rat Race Rebellion or anything like that, where you can get into a community of
Mhm.
contractors as well, so you can get the tips and tricks. I mean, I'm not a tax person, so I would want to learn from somebody else how to
Right,
do my taxes appropriately. And that when people ask me that question, well, what do I do with my taxes? I say, find a community, learn from others.
right.
So
And fortunately, a lot of the online tax programs now, um, if you tell them you're an independent contractor, it will ask you a lot of the right questions.
yeah.
But oftentimes, somebody who's contracting for the first year, at least for the first year, prefers to go to their local H&R Block or an
Mhm.
accountant of some sort. So I think that's awesome. What kind of schedules? You've mentioned that the hours are flexible or choose your own hours.
Mhm.
What more can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So when an opportunity posts, it will show the hours for that contracting opportunity. We have some that are 24/7. We have some that are just Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. We have some that, Monday through Saturday, but not Sundays. They're all different. Um, but it's really, you set your own hours. So you'll need to go through the education class, and there are set hours for your education class. So you'll need to make sure you can attend those to be able to certify and do the program correctly. But once you get through that, you have maximum flexibility. Anything within that client's operating hours, you can schedule. So you can schedule in as little as 15-minute increments. Basically, we do that just for that maximum flexibility, so that if you're trying to work around, I've got kids at home. I've got a good 2-hour window to work, but then I'm going to need 30 minutes to go upstairs and check on things and make sure everybody's taken care of. Then
Mhm.
I can squeeze another 30 minutes in, or whatever you want to do. You can break it down as simple as that. Now, if you're someone who wants to work a full 6-hour chunk, great. I would suggest maybe giving yourself a break in between at some point.
Right?
But the schedule drops weekly with all of the available time that's available. And then you just click, okay, I want these 4 15-minute blocks. That's an hour. I'm going to give myself 30 minutes. Here's another couple blocks I'm going to take. And you schedule that. And then, you have kind of a grace period where if you're like, oh, I can't do that, you can cancel those.
Okay.
And then, of course, if any emergencies come up, you can put your shift up if somebody needs to take that. But we try to keep it flexible. Now, if you're someone who wants as many hours as possible and you've grabbed all the hours you want, but then the day of, you're like, oh, I kind of wanted more,
Uh-huh.
you can still, check then. Are there hours I can still stay on
Okay.
today? So
Right. So if you've got somebody
yeah,
who's very money driven, for example,
yeah,
maybe they have a vacation coming up and they wish they had
right.
more money set aside, they can pour on the hours, knowing that they're going to be able to relax on vacation in the next
Oh,
few
yeah, for
weeks.
sure. So, yeah, we do. We have some programs that have peak times, like peak tax days, and those are just kind of unlimited hours, grab as many as you want.
Uh-huh.
Whereas, some, again, that are long-term programs are very steady and it's okay, it's 8 to 5, and I take my hours every day. And so it's whatever you want it to be, you can be as flexible as you'd like. So,
That's great. I love that. And of course, that's part of being a contractor. You
mhm.
don't usually get those options when you're working as an employee. So that's one of those contractor perks, if you will. Um, can contractors work on multiple programs?
Yes. So we encourage our contractors to take on the programs with us, of course, but as well, you're a contractor. You can take on contracts with other companies as well. So you can have a contract with us if you're doing well. If you've got that program down and you're like, I've got more time I can do. Take on another one with us, or if right now we're not offering another one, take on one with another company. Do what you need to do for your business. But
Mhm.
yes, if you are doing well, we would love to give you more opportunities.
That's great to know too. And I'm really glad that you mentioned that, like if I'm contracting to Working Solutions and I want to supplement with something from another company, that I
Mhm.
can do that at the same time, not
Absolutely.
literally at the same time, like
Right. You cannot take calls
that's right.
at the same time for 2 different contracts, even within Working Solutions.
Right,
Yeah, you have to if you're on your hours for us, please do your hours specifically for us,
right. You have
but
dedicated slots for different companies, right?
right,
And
right.
different clients or different programs as the case may be if it's internal.
Exactly.
What kind of compensation does Working Solutions provide for their contractors? And are there any additional incentives for certain programs?
Sure. So, when they review, again, everything's client specific, but when they review an opportunity, the posting is going to have, we pay by the minute. So your contracting rate is by the minute. So we have a contract that says, we'll just give an example. Okay, you earn 29 cents a minute. So, okay, you're thinking, okay, if I'm on a call, if I'm working for 60 minutes, 29 cents times 60, but then we have a lot of people, especially who come from other companies, who say, well, what if I don't get any calls
Uh-huh.
within my hour? I'm used to not getting paid anything for that. So, what we've put in is we put in a minimum guarantee. So, we
Okay.
have programs where, okay, well, you're going to get 29 cents a minute while you're on calls, but if you're not on calls, you're as long as you're available, you're going to get paid at least 45 minutes of that, or whatever the guarantee is.
Right.
Sometimes it's 39 minutes, sometimes it's 45. Sometimes we have some that it's just as long as you're logged in, you're getting paid for the full 60 minutes. So it varies, but we like having that protection and that guarantee that, you know, if you're contracting with us and you're logged in, you're going to see something on your paycheck, you're on your invoice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so the best thing I tell people, if it's something where there's a contract with a minimum guarantee, is I take, say it's 25 cents a minute, 25 cents a minute times 45 minutes is my minimum, then I'm earning this much, or
Right.
at most it's 25 cents times 60 minutes, and that's my max. And then you can kind of say,
Right.
okay, so I'm going to earn between, what I'm sorry, I'm not great with math, but let's just say it's,
Believe me,
I'm
I'm
going to
not
earn
trying to
between
add it up in my head
14 to,
either.
yeah, yeah, so what your range is going to be. And so we have a lot of people who see that minimum guarantee and they compute it as a maximum guarantee. And I'm going, no, 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 that's at least you're getting paid this much.
Right, right.
So
I
it's a
love that
great
you
thing to
have
know.
that because
Yeah,
again, not every company does. I think that's it's not unique expressly to Working Solutions, but it's a lot more rare than people might realize it is.
right.
So those pay per talk minute, um, I love that there's that safety net where if
Yes.
promised you my time and I'm not working with another client during that time, I love knowing that there's going to be at least that minimum for me during
Mhm.
that hour. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, and so as well with that, there's also it depends on the client and the skill. So if we need bookkeeping skill and you have, that contract needs that, that's a higher skill. So that contract may pay a little bit more for that skill. So again, it depends on what the contract is, what the skill is. If you're bilingual and working for bilingual, there may be an additional incentive for that skill as well. And then of course, like we said earlier, sales, you make a sale, something like that. There's a lot of different contracts that have extra cents per minute or an extra dollar for the booking or whatever the case is on top of that. So definitely read through that portion on the opportunities, get your calculator out. And so you can understand
Right.
your range. So,
Right. I'm going to ask you a question that everybody always wants to know.
mhm.
Are there some states that you do not hire from or contract from?
Yeah, great question. So, this is due to varying independent contracting regulations in those states.
Mhm.
Um, we do not do contracting with the states of California, New York, Pennsylvania, and Washington State. And so anything else within the US is fine. And we also have some programs that take Canadian applicants as well. So you'll want to look. But specifically for those 4 states, we just can't contract with them due to regulations that
Right,
don't meet up with what our company is trying to do. So,
right. I always want to put on my sad face when we talk about, especially
yeah, I
California,
know.
because it's such a massive state with such a big population, and so many people would like to work remotely, and they're always asking us, how come nobody will hire from
Mhm.
California? Talk to your politicians about it.
Right, right.
Because
So many skilled people there that I would love
I know.
to
There's
contract
this
with.
there's this massive untouchable talent pool there,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, it's out of the hands of the hiring companies. So, I mean,
Right.
all I can say, and this is me not working solutions saying it, is you have to take it up with your politicians because until things change in that state and some of the other states that are often excluded, their hands are tied. So it's not that they don't want to work with you. Believe me, you guys have this massive, massive, really wonderful talent pool that everybody's just dying to dip their fingers into and can't get at you. So
Mhm.
it's not personal. Let's talk about equipment. Do
Yeah.
people have to have a landline to contract with Working Solutions?
So for the large majority of our programs, a landline is not needed. Honestly, I think there's one client that we contract with right now who needs a landline to support their systems,
Okay.
but pretty much all of our clients, you need to be hardwired to your internet, but they use a soft phone.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then a lot of them, you also need to have a smartphone, Android, iPhone, anything like that, to
Okay.
be able to have like an app to authorize, like, okay, well, I'm getting if you log in and they say, we're going to text you an authorization or whatever the case, we have some of those. So landline is really kind of, I don't want to say obsolete, but a rare thing in our type of contracting now. Hardwired is necessary. This is for client safety, security of the customers calling in, and then of course to ensure that you are consistently connected and you're not dropping calls or anything like
Right.
that. So the hardwired, you definitely want to make sure you got the Ethernet cable connected. I have people who work in their basement, but they're running the Ethernet cord. They've got the 100-yard one that's going all the way downstairs. Whatever you can do to get
Right.
hardwired. So,
Right. And that's all there is to it. If you have,
mhm,
it's a question that we get is, yeah, but I don't have hardwired internet. I use wireless. You have it. If you
mhm,
have the equipment in your home, it's as simple as running that Ethernet cord from your router, your modem to your computer,
right.
or your docking station or whatever. And that's the other part of that is if you have a computer that doesn't have an Ethernet cord port, you can do that very easily through an inexpensive docking station or a coupler. So there are solutions out there. It's not as complex as the geeks want us to think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have those little adapters. Like my laptop doesn't naturally come with anything. They've
Uh-huh.
streamlined laptops. They're very thin and pretty. So they've gotten rid of that Ethernet port, but now they have like an HDMI to Ethernet adapter. It's like $12 on
Yes.
Amazon, and
And
you're wired and good to go. So
they're not expensive, and you may be
mhm,
pleasantly surprised. Oftentimes that does increase your traffic, your speed as well.
right.
When you're directly hardwired, it's more
Yeah.
reliable.
And then the wire too with the headset. We have, being connected to the computer as well. Again, just so you're not relying on Bluetooth connection or anything like that. So hardwired all the way.
And is there somewhere on your site where people can learn more about the technology requirements so that before they apply, they have a sense of, am I actually going to be a fit? I mean,
Right.
if I'm running Windows 7, or Vista,
Right.
is that going to work? Um,
Yeah, absolutely. So if they go to that website below, the jobs.workingsolutions.com, there
okay.
is a tab for FAQs, and there's a whole tech requirement section there, and it'll tell you what we're looking for: the wired headset, the hard wired internet, Windows 10 and 11, I think is what we accept. It's going to go over like Macs are not accepted unless they can run
Okay.
in like a dual boot, so they can still run Windows because we need that Windows. So it's going to go, I am not the tech person, but that page will go over it for you. And if you're not the tech person either, we always say, take that list to like Best Buy or something and say,
Right.
find me this,
Right. Right.
and then of course, Black Friday sales and things like that. We always tell people, hey, here's a good time to, find if your computer right now doesn't match, get one on this day, so it does not require $1,000 computer or anything like that. Most basic setups are going to work for you.
And bear in mind, again, you will be a business contracting. So if you're purchasing even the smallest thing, if you have to run to Best Buy and pick up an adapter, keep track of your mileage, keep track of the cost of the adapter, keep your receipts, because all of those things will help you out at the end of the year. Um, Before I ask my next question, because I want to ask you about people's opinions about the company, one thing that I forgot to ask you is during the application process, do you require a resume or is everything application form based?
So it's application form based. There is an option to upload your resume as well.
Okay.
But yes, you are going to fill out the drop downs and the forms because it streamlines into our system easier
Okay.
that way. Now we do enjoy having, if you do have a resume, because again, something specific like bookkeeping skills or
Mhm.
something like that, that's where we will start searching for those resumes as well, going, oh, they didn't say it here, but do they have it there?
Right.
So as much as you can put in the form, great. And then if you have a resume, you can supplement with it. If you don't, that's fine. The majority of our applicants don't attach a resume.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And that's
Mhm.
for a lot of people who are looking to ramp up quickly and get working
Right.
quickly. Sometimes there's that process of trying to put together a resume. Maybe you haven't written one in years. So it's good to know that at least, unless you have sort of specialized skill sets that you really want to showcase in a resume,
Mhm.
just filling out that online application form, you may be able to bypass the resume,
Right.
that's a big hooray for a lot of people.
Yeah, or something you can always add later. You can go back in and edit and upload it at any point, so
Sure, sure. So let me ask you, and my question is not popping up on the screen, so I'm just going to ask you it.
sure.
In your opinion, and based on feedback from current employees, what are some of the things that people really love about working with Working Solutions? And I know you've already alluded to some of those, but
Sure.
love to
Yeah,
hear.
I'm gonna jump back to that culture first, just that supportive environment that everybody's excited to be here. I think we're all excited to be home is what we mean, but also to then have relationships with people while you're comfy at home, um, so that's definitely one of the biggest things, but also there's variety. I feel like I'm always excited and interested. When I said earlier we had a program that deals with pets, the amount of applicants we got when all of a sudden we were talking pets
Right?
skyrocketed, because who doesn't want to talk about pets or travel, or so there's always something to pique someone's interest. We have a lot of we have some like charitable type of call center stuff you can do too, where people can volunteer time for a day to raise money for like Stand Up to Cancer or things like that, and so people can volunteer for that if they want. So there's always something fun and new, just so you're not doing the same call over and over and over again. You've got some variety, or you've got something to pique your interest specifically.
I love that. I love that. I get bored easily, so the
Mhm.
idea of some diversity in the day is a good thing.
Yeah.
I did want to just ask again how people apply. We've been running that crawler across the bottom of the screen. Are we good with just pointing them there, or do you want to top that off with anything else, Ariel?
Um, so start with the jobs.workingsolutions.com. And the biggest thing is just follow the process all the way through. Now we've made it a little bit more streamlined. There used to be, you do this part, then you wait for an email, then you do this part, then you wait for an email. Now it's boom, 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 boom. You're moving to the next step, which is great. But if you get all the way through and you get to opportunities and you go, "Oh, I don't want to do that program," that's okay. You're in our community. Just hang out. And tomorrow there might be something different. It might be a week later. You just have to keep checking that opportunities tab. Depending, again, we don't have everything open all the time, because you would not get enough hours on a program if everybody just filled a seat. We only post when there's a need. So you're going to get hours if you're on that program. So it does take a little bit of waiting for the ideal program for what you're looking for, but just keep checking back, and then when you see something, jump on it. So
Okay. All right. And as far as, are there any other tips for smoothing that application process that we haven't already touched on?
sure. So again, just make sure you complete every step of the process. The smoothest thing to smooth out is to flag our emails as approved, so you don't miss that communication for us, because that we're going to be making sure we're moving you to that next step. Read the details on your posting. Some people are so excited about a posting that they go to apply, and then they didn't look at the education calendar and they're on vacation that week. So they can't do it anyway. So make sure you thoroughly read through your posting, review your education schedule, make sure it actually works for you as well. We want to make sure this is the right fit for you, not just you being the right fit for us. So
Right.
take your time reading through that before you apply.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to us today. I know you're talking to me, but you're going to be talking to thousands of people. So we all appreciate it, I'm sure. I love these sort of, behind the curtain looks at companies, and just getting that inside information, because we can get a lot of bad information online. People who think they know a lot about companies, saying things that maybe are not quite right. And as I said at the top of this interview, we've been promoting working solutions to the people who come to Rat Race Rebellion for years, because we hear such positive things from people who are contracting with or have contracted with Working Solutions. And we have people who have contracted with the company, and then maybe things got slow for them, or their schedule changed. Maybe they went on maternity leave, and when they go back into the fold, they write us and they say, and I went right back in, and it's just as wonderful as I remembered. So I really appreciate you sharing your perspective on the company from the inside out.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
Have a wonderful day. And by the way, if you have any questions that you would like to pose to Working Solutions, hit us in the comments section below. We'll have folks from Working Solutions come by to check those periodically and make sure that we're not leaving you hanging in the wind. That's it. Everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.